steering wheel. Somebody tell him to give it to me.
There's something loose between my legs.
I don't know. Let go!
I'm heavier than a freaking boat.
Nothing he's going to say can make that any better.
Yeah, nobody. No more radio for the rest of the race.
I'm going home.
Hello and welcome to DRS FC, an F1 podcast by soccer nerds. I am a soccer nerd. My name is André Carlisle, and I am here with two other soccer nerds. Donald, how are you?
I'm good. We're getting close. We're like inside 3 weeks before the season starts. So I'm starting to get that juice that the season's here. I'm ready to go.
You dropped that timeline in the chat, and I was like, wait, that can't be right.
But it's not up on it for sure.
Really
I was like,
did.
Australia's not till like the middle of March. And then I'm like, oh, we're in the middle of February. Oh, okay.
It's the first weekend of March. So like, yeah, it's coming. And that is wild. Ebony, how are you?
Great. I'm doing great. Having a lot of fun just prepping for the season.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about everything we're going to talk about, which is going to be everything that's going on in Bahrain testing, all the good news, the bad news, the hilarious news. We're going to talk about all of it. And we're also going to talk about Lewis Hamilton and his very curious romantic decision that it feels like we need to have a conversation about because I don't know what the fuck that man is doing. But anyway, spoiler alert. Anyway, let's start talking about Bahrain testing. Because I think it's funny right now that everybody is kind of playing poker or something of the sort. Actually, I was thinking before the podcast that it maybe wasn't poker, but y'all remember that scene in Sorry to Bother You?
Oh, which
I
one?
don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Yeah, I
have,
hope you have a great day, brother. I hope
Oh,
you
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Oh,
Hope
what,
you have
you
a better
smell
week.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We some smelling
You
good
smell
brothers, aren't we?
great.
Yeah.
What do you got? Burberry? Oh, that's just deodorant. Okay, we some smelling good brothers.
Oh, I mean, I've seen that scene, but I've never seen the movie.
That scene is hilarious. The movie's ridiculous, but
Yeah.
that scene is funny, and that's kind of what everybody's doing. Like at first, Mercedes was like, "Oh, Red Bull's a second faster than us on the straights. Like, whew, they're flying." And Red Bull's like, "Oh, that Mercedes, they're sandbagging. We know exactly how good they are. Like their engine is great. They got this thing going. Like everything's looking really good." McLaren's like, yeah, it's going to be the top four. Some people are even saying like Ferrari looks really, really strong. Like everybody wants to be the no. I'm trying to get like you, dog. Like everybody's doing that right now, and it's cracking me up.
I honestly equate it to being more like, you know how you get a new password and everyone knew your old password, and so every time you're around somebody, you cover your thing, so the keypad, so you don't enter, and you enter the same password. That's like you changed maybe one digit out of it, and they're like, I know you didn't change much, but yeah, go ahead, man. Like hide your stuff if you want to. It's interesting, and F1 feeds into this, right? We talked about Barcelona and how they showed nothing and then was broadcasting it as if it was on TV all day. We got an hour each day. So it was a step up, I guess, but like it wasn't on Apple TV. You had to do the conversion to F1 TV, which if you're an Apple TV customer, it didn't take long. But then they're like, oh, testing's from 2 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the East Coast. And then in fine print, it was like, and you get 1 hour each day. At the very end. So you didn't really get to see a lot. And then again, they recap testing as if we saw all of it or had access to all of it. And you're just kind of like, when do we get to peel off the veil here and see the whole thing? You
mentioned Apple TV so I have Apple TV now because of F1, but there's no like if you are familiar with like how MLS was for Apple TV, they have a little section like where it's like, TV, MLS, search something. There's nothing there for F1 yet. So, and then when you search Formula One, guess what comes up? The movie. So
I was wondering about that because I did go and I was like, let me see if Apple's got any like testing or anything that I can watch. You type in F1, you just get the movie.
Yep.
Brilliant.
And apparently some show that Lewis Hamilton did, like I haven't watched it yet, but maybe to come soon.
That's wild. And yeah, I mean, so we can talk about that real quick because I do think that, man, I don't really understand what they're doing. And we've gone all rants about this, so I don't want to stay here for like 20 minutes. But like this is a new regulation set. This is like the top engineers in the sport and in like racing with aerodynamicists, everything. Like we got the top engineers in this sport being paid a lot of money to figure something out and develop a fast car. And like there is a truly fascinating story that I think F1 is just too scared to tell. And I don't know why, because all the money in the sport has to be for something. And the for something is all the smart minds who make these cars go around the track and devise these different systems, different philosophies, different, aerodynamic, approaches, like everything that is so fun and interesting. And we're getting just drips of it. And so by the time the season actually starts, like Donald said, in 3 weeks, people are going to get bombarded with a bunch of new information when they could have been like, okay, they're doing this because, or okay, we found out that you need to like recharge the battery a bit more around a track like this. So what happens if we change up like how much can be like regenerated throughout a track and then deployed? Like you can play around with all this stuff live so you perfect it. They think they're just going to start off in Australia and be like, here it is, everybody, enjoy the new F1. And everybody's going to be like, what is this? What is happening?
And unlike previous years, right, when you're welcoming in new fans, you have a little bit of opportunity to kind of bring them up to speed. This year is different because for the first time in a very long time, everybody on the planet, including the 22 drivers, are being introduced to this for the first time. They are learning at the same time. So this should be a great opportunity for them to say, these are the different new modes that are coming in. Here's how they're going to work. Here's why you're seeing disparities of multiple seconds from first to 18th, as opposed to maybe a second and a half, which was normal, in the previous years. These little things where you kind of go, this is what they're working on. They're not necessarily trying to go vroom, vroom this week. They're just trying to see how all these little buttons work. If you want to dumb it down to that, that's fine. But everybody's on the same playing field with regards to education about the new regulations, including the people who are driving these things. And they're not using that opportunity, in my mind, to their advantage.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think that like it sounds like they're afraid to let people in on like exactly what's going on, and they don't want to show some of the like what's underneath the hood, so to speak. They don't want to show all the mistakes or maybe but to me they're not mistakes. They're just like we've seen even from Barcelona testing, what little we heard about what was going on in Barcelona, we've seen a lot of teams do better. Like think about Williams. Think about telling that story. They don't even make it to Barcelona testing. And in Bahrain, they're putting up the most laps of anybody. That's a tremendous story to be able to tell and be able to showcase and be like, hey, look at Williams. Their reliability is on point. They got their car where they need it to be. It's doing laps. No, it's not like topping the timing charts, but you can explain to people it's not always about the time. There's a lot of other things that teams are doing. And honestly, for me, I'd love to know. All I hear is them loosely mention, like, we don't know what program they're running. What program was it? Long runs, I know. Qualifying runs, I know. But what else are they? Are they checking like certain systems, a fuel system, a hydraulic system? Like, it would be great to explain all this stuff so people had an understanding of how complex the cars are, because it's not just cars go vroom. This is a series that's built on engineering and some of the sharpest minds in the world to try to figure out how to apply them to a racing car and put together battery power, electrical power, aerodynamics, sensation for the driver, all of that stuff, the tires, cooling. Like you're trying to put all this stuff together in one package to make your car the fastest and most efficient. And that's just a really fascinating layered story that you could tell. And instead they're like, nah, you get 1 hour.
Do we talk about the fact that having said all that, cover your ears if you're not a Red Bull fan, but Red Bull's powertrain looks to be the most complete so far. And again, that's of just the hour that we got each day. You're like, oh, and this is funny considering that Max came out like after day 1 or day 2 and was like, this car sucks. These new regulations suck. I hate them. Like it's making this car slower. And I'm looking at the data that they're presenting, and I'm like, I'm not a scientist, but it doesn't look like that to me. And everyone else in the paddock is like, oh, Red Bull is the standard right now with their new Ford powertrain, which is shudders for me because go GM. having a Ford powertrain be a top is I can't do it. We can't have this. So again, if these are the benchmarks that we all need to learn about, and again, figuring out why there's so much disparity right now, and then maybe see if it's cleaned up next week.
Well, not even, I mean, it was also Lewis too. Like all of the multiple champion winner drivers are like, these regs suck. Lando's like, this is great. I love it. And I'm like, okay. So we have very experienced drivers telling us that it's actually like some of the worst cars they've had. They're comparing it to like Formula E. And they're just like, who did you believe? Well, I think I'm going to believe the 7-time world champion. Is Max what, 4-time? Yeah. 4-time world champ. So, and then you see the video of them like doing like the takeoff for the start, and like half the cars were able to like actually go before the 10 to 15 second mark of the video. These new regs are very confusing, and like you said, André, like Apple does. If you've seen, so to bring it back to MLS really quick, if you've seen some of the like shorts that they've done with MLS and some of the videos that they've made and series, that could have easily translated into F1, where people would actually like understand not just cars go vroom, they would understand what's going behind it. And like you said, it does, like, because they're not doing that, you literally have the blueprint already. Because they're not doing that, it's so weird. I thought I was gonna get like the MLS experience, but better, because Formula One's way more lucrative than MLS. They have more money, a lot more money, so they could have absolutely done so much more. And the fact that you don't even have like the Formula One like standard of just having it as an option for like all of your content like you do MLS is very concerning, especially because, like you said, 3 weeks away. So you can't buy F1 TV by itself. So I have to go through Apple to go through F1 TV. That's a lot of steps that people are gonna stop at because they're like, I don't want to do this. This is too much. And then you can't even use the Apple TV properly. It made me mad when I went to go try to look at BAHRAIN testing, and I couldn't not straight like click on my app on Apple on my Mac and make it go. That's literally what a Mac is supposed to be. It's all one ecosystem so that you can just pick something, click it, and go. So, and there's no F1 TV premium TV app anyway. So
yeah,
that also sucks.
So I want to get into driver comments too, because I have a couple thoughts on these. And Donald, I want to know what you think too. So I'm just going to read them verbatim, because here are kind of the reaction, the pull quotes that people are reacting to primarily. So Lewis Hamilton started off, said, none of the fans are going to understand it, I don't think. It's so complex. It's ridiculously complex. I sat in a meeting the other day and they're talking us through it, and it's like you need a degree to fully understand it all. And then Max Verstappen jumped in there and he had a lot more to say. He said, as a pure driver, I enjoy driving flat out. And at the moment, you cannot drive like that. There's a lot going on. A lot of what you do as a driver in terms of inputs have a massive effect on the energy side of things. And for me, that's just not Formula One, because then maybe it's better to drive Formula E, right? Because that's all about energy, efficiency, and management. That's what they stand for. Driving wise, it's not so fun. And he also added, a winning car for me doesn't matter, is what he said. It needs to be fun to drive as well at this stage of my career. Donald.
So I don't believe the last part that Max said. He wants a car that's going to win. And if it's boring for him and he's winning, I don't think he cares that much. I will say this: we're all soccer fans. What's the one thing that we see almost every World Cup? Overtime explainers, extra time explainers that they go, hey, there's no golden goal. Golden goal was a rule that lasted for exactly 2 years before they got rid of it. Yeah. And that was in 98 to 2000, right? It was basically gone by Euro 2000. And for the last 26 years, we get an explainer every single overtime or every single extra time period where they say there's no golden goal for, again, a rule that has been gone for that long. That is what F1 is going to need to do, right? Because still to this day, people ask, hey, is there golden goal, or is like a next goal wins type of deal? You have to explain it every single time, even though that rule has not existed for a long time. This is the opposite. These rules have changed. So now you're going to have to introduce these explainers at every single turn. And Ebony, like you said, Have videos on Apple TV that explain these things bit by bit. Put this podcast on there. When we discuss the regs, it was 2 episodes of 2.5 hours of us just breaking this down. And at the end of it, we knew a little bit more. But as this season goes along, they're going to have to continue to explain how all these things work, why there's no DRS zone, RIP, like why there's overdrive mode and all these different modes and why they had them as initial names and changed them, how these cars are working and why there might be some disparity. Even as we mentioned, Andre, a couple episodes ago, why some of the engines have that sonic difference as opposed to previous years when they all sounded the same. So those are little things that they can use those as opportunities to explain, not just to their new audience, but to their existing audience. And that is hopefully what will come from this as they roll out F1 TV or just F1 on Apple TV and provide those links. But they're going to have to be, they're going to have to basically do this every single week for the first couple years, because again, every single time you get to a point, they're going to be like, oh, we forgot to tell y'all that y'all can do this year. They can do this year, or they can't do this other thing this year. The rules have changed, and so it's opportunity to ram it into our heads every single turn, because for the next 5 years, people are going to be like, well, wait, I thought we had DRS. Why didn't they do DRS there? Why didn't they do this there? Why didn't their car, go this way? Why did they go for this tire? These are all things that can be explained, and they have this platform to do it now. They need to just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was with you when I heard those quotes. Max hated last year's car. Oh, but he loved it when he was winning races and chasing down, putting a lot of pressure on those McLarens. I'm sure it was hard to drive and not fun, but every time he got pole, the story was, oh, what a brilliant driver he is. So if he's able to wrangle this car around, get it on pole, get it around and win races, he will be fine. Right?
Remember he was going to retire? Remember, he was like, I'm not going to do this beyond like 2027.
He brought
Remember
up the same thing. Like, I've got other series or interests. Oh, shut up. Like, as long as you're winning, you're going to be here. Everybody knows that. Like, I hate how we keep getting F1 media keeps getting baited into that. Oh, we don't know how long Max is going to stay around. Oh, no, he might leave. What if he goes away? He's not going nowhere. The only time he's going somewhere is if he stops winning. And if somebody starts consistently beating him, machinery, equal machinery, yeah, he'll be like, all right, maybe my time in F1 is done, right? But I don't think he's going to run away when he still knows that he is the best driver and he has access to one of the best cars. He knows what he can do in that situation, and he'll be fine. Right now, he's not racing against anybody. You're just doing laps around the track. It's probably very boring to him. When the racing starts and there's a checkered flag to chase, he will be right there no matter what buttons he's got to press on the damn steering wheel. My other thing, though, and some of this is just like, it's just a natural human reaction to change. Like people always are just don't want change, or things are different. Like we spent a lot of time in the last regulation set. And so, yes, by the time 2025 rolled around, every team just about had perfected those to the best of their abilities. So, yeah, the gaps closed up. You were seeing things like a gap from pole to 10th place being 0.3 of a second, right? You were seeing such tight margins, and that's because everybody went through it. They optimized their package and what they had around their car in the best possible way. Some didn't, like Ferrari, and messed themselves up, but they were still close enough, right? It wasn't like they were a second behind. And we're just going to see different. It's just going to take the same amount of time because this is a complete change to so many different things. So, yeah, a lot of it's going to be different. And I do think that, yes, it's complicated because of the energy management and all of that stuff that they keep talking about. But that's just explained. You just do it. It becomes natural, just like it was natural to hit the DRS button and flip it open. You just have these things. And they were charging and recharging the batteries during races anyway. It ain't like this MGU-H is new. They've had all these things. It's the MGU-K that's gone and different, and that's a different problem, I think. But in terms of the complexity of it, it's kind of you're having to think about it in a different way, but it's not brand new. And so I'm kind of like all these arguments and everything about needing a degree. To me, that sounds a little bit sensationalist. And obviously, I'm not sitting in the cockpit of the car having to figure it all out. But I understand that, like, when you're so natural, it became so natural to press this button or do this. And in a situation, you do this, you have your race engineer tell you 1,000 times, okay, fine. Now I know how to do all this stuff myself. And you don't have that level of understanding anymore. Yeah, I understand. It's going to be like, this feels uncomfortable, but I think you'll be fine.
When in Top Gun Maverick, when, they're in the F-16 Tomcat and then they, Maverick and Rooster crash and then they find the F-14. And you remember when Maverick jumps in, he kind of looks at the buttons and it just like wow, it's been a while, huh, Mav? Like he had to relearn that stuff, right? Like really quickly because they were trying to get up out of there, but he did, right? It took him 5 seconds and Rooster jumps in and is like, what is all this? This is all old. He turns around and he's like, okay, by the time they're in the air, he's figuring out these buttons and figuring out how they work. It's, as you mentioned, it's about muscle memory. They don't have it yet. And it's going to take a while to relearn that because, as you mentioned, they just spent the last 7 to 10 years already mastering that muscle memory for all these different buttons and all these different modes. Now they have to figure out when to do it, how to do it, and then the strategy part of things. Now that you can deploy some of these overtake modes like anywhere on the course as opposed to in just different zones. So yeah, it's just going to take time. And until then, yeah, it's going to feel like a re-education of sorts for them. But that's why they're the best drivers on the planet. They're going to figure it out.
And I believe Meg let us know they will be doing, you can watch the full testing next week. Mm-hmm. So not just 1 hour. So they've been in the car, like what? They had the Barcelona testing. Some people got a few laps in. We know that Williams got no laps in. Aston Martin got like 60, I thought it was.
Oh, I think they had less than that. I think they were under 20. They may have been under 10. They didn't do nothing because their car just stopped.
Yeah, I remember there was like they did 4 laps and then stopped. I didn't know if they had. I thought I saw that they had got it back going, but that also could have been not accurate. But they're slowly getting there. Like you said, it's muscle memory, but it's also just like you're in a brand new, you're going to have a learning curve, some less than others. Because again, 7-time world champ, 4-time world champ, you're going to figure it out. But to be able to see the full, like car racing for a very extended period of time, the whole time, not just clips or an hour, that'll be really cool. I think hopefully Apple is figuring out how to let us watch on their platform and not just telling you to go link to another site, so that hopefully we can all watch it together. But that would be that. I am looking forward to that. I have not gotten to see as much testing as I would like because of how choppy and weird this has all been. So hopefully I can actually like get a full stream of watching it so that I can also understand these new rules. Like, thankfully, I have a 2.5 hour pod lesson to listen to. Thank you to all of you that actually recorded that. But that's going to be really fun to pair with what I'm actually seeing on track.
I will make a note that there is an F1 TV app. You have to download it separately from the F1 app, but it does work. That's what I was able to use last week. But again, it wasn't necessarily advertised. It was one of those, like, I did some digging and said, this isn't working in the F1 app. I'm being sent to a website. There has to be something better. And there is an app, but like you said, hopefully all of it integrate. If we're going to be on Apple TV, and more importantly, if you're going to pay for Apple TV, then I think the necessary progression is to port everything over to the thing that you make everybody pay for, as opposed to making them download yet another app, sign in with another login, and figure out how to find yet another thing that should be somewhere else.
And that's what testing could have been for too, right? Like figuring all of
Test
this
these
stuff
out. Yeah.
Right. Like, so they just, to me, they're just missing a ton of opportunities and everything. Like at the start of the season, people are going to be so confused for so many different reasons. Yeah. I mean, I do want to say, like, I don't want to completely dismiss the comments from very successful drivers. I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. I've grown to respect the hell out of Max because he's basically beating it out of me. But like, I get what they're saying in a way. Like, it is new, and I know that like pure racing, they don't know how it's going to work with these regulations because the energy management is so important, and we're not going to necessarily know, is somebody just passing another car because they're like draining from 80% of their battery and the other car has like 10% or 0%. Like how is that what we want to see? It's almost like what we got with the DRS overtakes. It just became like, okay, well, they got DRS, the other car doesn't, so zoom, zoom, there they go. And it's like, are we going to see the exact same thing? But that's all we're going to see, because in the corners, you have to be so aware of how you're harvesting energy that you can't like zip around the corner like full, like as quickly as you want to, because you're gonna have to manage it, because that's the only way that you're gonna be able to recharge, right? So I like, yes, there are some things to figure out, and I do think that some of this is just like the FIA needs to just look at the regulations and see what's right, because they actually do cap how much energy can be restored on a lap. And if they change that, or at least increase it for every single track, then you're fine. You don't have any issues, because now there's enough available power to go around the track quickly. You don't have to focus so much and be worried so much about completely draining your battery. You can get it back in this turn, or you can get it back in doing this. And like, I think that stuff will work itself out if the FIA is flexible, which I understand what I just said. If the FIA is flexible, but it's a possibility. I mean, these are new regs. They do change things to try and make the racing better. And if they're listening to the drivers and understanding that if you make this one tweak, you address a lot of these issues, then that's probably the route that you want to go. Real quick, though, I do want to shift before we start talking about something else, because there was another thing that came out of Bahrain testing that I think is really important. And you kind of mentioned it, Ebony, when you started talking about Aston Martin and the very few laps that they did in Barcelona. They showed up late. Their car was completely black because they didn't have no time to put a lick of paint on it. It was just like, we're here, and that's it. So now the car is there, and it looks bad. It ain't doing nothing. It looks awful.
Oh my God. Lance Stroll's comments about the car, hilarious.
He said they're 4.5 seconds behind.
This is the only time you will not hear Lance Stroll slander from him. He has 5 seconds of it. That was freaking funny, Lance. He's just like,
he's slandering himself and the whole team, so we ain't got to do it now. Like, he's bringing the slander. I'm just like, yeah. Again, we are an F1 podcast by soccer nerds. That's what we do. So yes, I'm going to apply this in a soccer context. Lawrence Stroll, we know he's got unlimited money. They built brand new facilities, wind tunnel, everything, state of the art, perfect, clean, crispy, everything you want, top notch. They got Adrian Newey, best car designer that F1 has ever seen, brought him in. They brought Honda in. Honda has made some engines for Red Bull that have won a number of championships, number of races, all of that. They put all that together, and they came out with shit. And it won't stay shit, obviously, because all that will eventually happen. But we talk about this in soccer all the time. People get so scared. If there's no salary cap, or if one team can just spend all the money, then they just do all the winning, and there's no competition. It doesn't always happen like that.
Kansas City Current, come on down.
Right. You have to do a lot more than just put the pieces together. And even if you put the pieces together, it still takes time. Will they be hooping in like 2 or 3 seasons? Probably. But right now, they are so far behind, and they look bad. There's like Andy Cow, the dude who was doing the engine for him. He's out now completely. He's basically Adrian Newey took his job, demoted him, and then yeeted him because he was he was working with Honda on the engine design. And apparently that's where like they're pointing fingers at that. The engine people are pointing fingers and being like, you're designing this car with like no space for an actual engine to go. So we're trying to work under these under these dimensions. We can't do anything like that. And so like they've completely like made a mess of this so far. I don't think it will stay like this, but right now, all I'm saying is it takes more than money, y'all. Please remember that.
And they had, I think Fernando Alonso had the second fewest laps of this week, only to Kimi Antonelli. Third fewest was Lance Stroll. So you mess up basically the first 3 days of Barcelona shakedown. You come in, you don't really do anything in those last 2 days, and then you come in for the first week and you have, as a team, the fewest laps of any team. Like, that is a problem, and your car is slow. I'll tell you how slow, y'all. Just take Bahrain's track. The Bahrain Grand Prix, the fastest lap is Oscar Piastri with a 135.140. Every single day, there are at least six drivers. And in the case of day 3, I think it's all the way down to 7 or 8 that were faster than that. These cars are at least over the course of one single lap, you're going to see lap records get decimated. And if you are 5 seconds behind that, you are slower than cars were in the 90s. Like, that's how far back behind the pack there are. And they need to right the ship and get the data that they need to make these cars go at the pace that these cars are going, because you cannot be a second behind old lap records, because if lap records are going to get destroyed, you will be left in the dust very quickly.
I'm still cracking up that they go, "How's the car?" He goes, "It looks pretty." Just, and it is bad. Like, they are truly at the back of the pack. And Colapinto almost crashed in Bahrain, and Alpine is ahead of them. Like,
oh, I was gonna say, like, Donald, thank you for that, and Ebony, thank you for that. But I will make it even clearer for people. Cadillac just got there, and they're doing so much better than this team with all the money and Adrian Newey and Honda engines. They just showed up, and they're already better than Aston Martin.
Just by being there.
Right?
They showed up and ran more than 30 laps.
They're like, yeah, we got some problems here and there, but that's expected. You're a brand new team. You did not exist. Aston Martin existed. There's at least some sort of historical knowledge within that team about how you put together and operate a car. And yes, Adrian Newey came in and changed a lot of things. So many things are going to change. And again, they will probably get there in 2 or 3 seasons. But people were talking about, oh, this combination, if they get it right, Fernando Alonso could end up getting that driver's championship. No, we can tell you right now, without a single lap, race lap or practice lap being done, it ain't happening, just because they are so far behind. And they can eventually maybe catch up, but it ain't going to be enough to like completely get to the top of the standings, because they got a long way to go.
Who are they catching up to?
Everybody. They're behind Cadillac right now, so they
start with them. Yeah.
Right? They have to climb their way up slowly from the very bottom. And again, I do think that they will start to look a lot better in this second week. And of course, once they get to actually Australia and get into practice sessions. But that was kind of the thing I was talking about earlier with being able to track these stories. Like, Williams and Aston Martin looked like they were in the worst shape coming out of Barcelona. Williams didn't even make it. Aston Martin just showed up, panting, rushing, getting the car on the track, be like, we here, we made it. It's Friday. Can we get out for like a couple laps? Okay, cool. Like, that's how they approached it. And then when it got to Bahrain, Williams is doing the most laps out of anybody. Aston Martin is not doing many laps and struggling. So like, you just look at juxtaposing those two teams and the directions they're going from starts that were both really poor. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's very interesting to see where this is going to go. And it's also very funny that this is happening to Lance Stroll.
Most importantly, funny.
Yes, extremely funny. Why does Lawrence Stroll talk like that? Is he human? Is he AI? What's wrong with him?
It didn't feel well. Like, I don't like watching the live livery reveal.
That's another thing we need to talk about.
That was so funny.
Yo, they recorded that and they still messed it up. We were watching that in the group chat. We're like, hey, did y'all stream just stop? Yeah, it stopped. And not just for like 30 seconds. It stopped for like 20 minutes and then restarted back, asking like the same question we had just heard answered.
Apparently on TikTok, it was fine. Kyle said it was fine on TikTok.
That's hilarious.
I don't tick or talk, so we can't.
I don't either.
I've been saying this on every single podcast basically since we started this new season. Y'all needed F-175 so bad. You can't do this stuff on your own. You needed somebody to take care of the production for you, because how in the world, with again, with all that money, all those resources that Lawrence Stroll has, the name Aston Martin and everything, y'all ended up pre-recording a launch and still messing it up when you broadcast it across YouTube. I don't understand how that happens. You press play and you let it run. How did it get stuck? And how did nobody notice that it was stuck? And when it was noticed, how did somebody not go, oh, go back, hit this button, set it here, let's restart it? No, it took them 20 minutes to figure this problem out.
This is what happens when you don't invite Tim's to your stuff.
It all goes back to Tim's.
Tim's is the cause and the solution.
All right. Is there anything else from testing that y'all wanted to talk about? Because I think I got it all off my chest. Because I'm excited to see what's coming up this week. So in terms of like timeline, like Donald said, 3 weeks until the season starts officially, which is amazing. But also we have one more test session. That's Bahrain. They're going to do Bahrain testing part 2 coming up this week. So we'll get a little bit more information as well. And I'm sure some things may change or may not, depending on some of the little arguments that are happening behind the scenes. So maybe we'll learn a bit more about all those things. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk about some other things. All right, man. Here's the thing. There was a time when like the whole Kardashian thing was all over the place, and people were like, this is gross. Like, get her out of here. Get this family out of here. They're bad. And then there was like the backlash to the backlash, where people were like, yo, why are you like, people, clearly they're popular. Why do you just not like them because they're women? Like, then there was this kind of like women being like business owners or doing what they do. Like there was this backlash to like, hey, let them live their lives and do what they do. And now they've been around so long that I think it's gone like full circle back to just, why are they here? What value do they add to anything? I've always kind of had the beef, the actual legitimate beef with them, that it feels like they exploit. They came out with like a credit card and people got mad at them, but they seem to exploit and prey on kind of like beauty standards or whatever or like, you know, gender norms for women and girls. And I feel like that's just, there's something icky there about how they do things, especially because they all cut their faces up and do plastic surgery and all that stuff. But like, on one hand, all that's separate for me at the moment, because that's a deeper discussion, and that's a discussion I ain't going to have on an F1 podcast. What I am going to talk about is, why the hell is Lewis Hamilton dating this woman when you're in a spot of your life where you don't need to be piling on curses? And regardless of what you feel about her and where she does and what she's done with her life, there's no, I don't want to be like the dude who's like, you know, oh, he's playing poorly because of his girlfriend. No, the problem is this is documented, all right? Like, she has a bad track record of people that she gets involved with. And I don't know if it's just that she finds these people in these particular moments of their life and this is how it's going to go anyway. But like the cat who lays on top of, like, in nursing homes, who just lays on top of people and then they die. Like, I don't know if that's what's going on with her. But like, dude, you experienced the Ferrari curse last season, and you're going to add to that a Kim Kardashian curse. What are you doing? You're 56 years old. You don't have many years to play around, and you're going to double curse yourself for 2026?
The Kim K curse is actually hilarious.
I mean, you can't type it with initials, but because it means something else. But it's real. It's real. I'm sorry. It is real. Like, and it could just be that like she's bad at like picking partners, or they're bad to her as well. Like, I don't know, but the whole thing is like, you get in that world, that environment, and it is draining. They're used to living that life, like on camera 24/7, you know, private life open, filming all the time, things like that. Like, they're used to doing that kind of stuff. And yeah, to a certain extent, Lewis is as well. He's been very popular for decades now, but he's also been able to be private. And this kind of erodes any semblance of privacy that he's been able to manage for himself. Like, and yes, he's dated famous people before, but he's also severely been affected in his on track performance by like going through a bad breakup in the past. Like that's something that is kind of like part of Lewis Hamilton lore. I don't understand this relationship, number one, and I don't understand why right now.
Can I play devil's advocate for a couple of minutes?
If you must.
So I will say this, right? Like Lewis Hamilton, when he was dating Nicole Scherzinger back in was the late 2000s, early 2010s, he was a monster when he was dating her. Like that went for what, like 6 or 7 years. Famously, like you see her, they show her celebrating as he crosses the line to win his very first title. She was with him until I want to say 2015, maybe 2016, but I think it was 2015, and he ended up winning. Just going on a tear after that, and even during, he kind of battled the Vettel years, and then came back and started to get to the peak when they broke up. And he was very, he's talked about that a lot, and how the breakup really hurt him emotionally. He had to kind of get over that. Well, last year he had by all accounts, his worst year, right? The Ferrari move didn't, go as well as he wanted it to after starting off with just like the iconicism that it was. He lost, Roscoe, and, that obviously took a huge toll. Ferrari and their mishaps did not help him in that. And it's something to be said that he needed some companionship, and he found it in a person that he had known for a very long time. And it's not like this was a brand new thing. They had been, she's been bouncing from celebrity to celebrity, and they have been friends throughout all of that. That's the end of my devil's advocate portion of things, that he needed this, right? Like he needed something. The question would be like, why her? Her who is known to, on many occasions, make people either the very best they could be at the peak of their career, like Ray J, or they put out albums that are, let's say, understood in a way that should not be understood.
I can't give her that one though. I can rate, like, there are some other names you can definitely throw out there, but I don't think you can give all of that man on Kim K. he was gonna do it regardless.
Kanye made Yeezus after they started dating. Just leave that there. Just go put that on the table and then step away from the grenade before.
Okay,
eruption.
But also we can't ignore everything else Kanye became.
Kanye was doing stuff before her, though. Yeah. I mean, he gave a college dropout.
Yes.
Ooh, but he was also doing other things before Kim K. So I can't really put all of that on her. I can put like 40% of Yeezus on her.
You can put a lot of Yeezus on her. But the overarching point is people are rightfully concerned that this is going to affect performance for a guy that every time he moves teams in the second year, he wins a championship. Every single time he has been on a team in their second year, he has won the title. So everyone's like, naturally, this year should be his year. No mistakes, no excuses, and most importantly, no distractions. This is what could be labeled as a potential distraction. And now,
massive
I will say it didn't.
I mean, it's distracting all the F1 fans that are being like, "Why is Kim K here?"
Yeah, but I mean, I will say, it didn't really hurt him in testing, but it's testing, right? Like that's
no.
Hold
on, mm-hmm. It did. From what we heard, like he caused one of the red flags. He spun twice.
Oh yeah, he did
also.
Spin. Yeah, he did. Spin.
Yeah. And in terms of how the car looks, now again, caveat: they're driving one car. They haven't brought two, so there's not one like with the setup specification for Lewis and the setup specification for Charles. Correct. So it's one car. But what we've heard is from people who are on the ground, and Lewis even alluded to it himself. He talked about how the car was slidey and a little bit difficult to drive. Charles didn't have that problem. Charles was like, "What you mean sliding? I'm going through these corners smooth. What are you talking about?" Like, and that was visually, like, people could just tell, regardless of the helmet, they could just tell Charles is driving that Ferrari. Oh, Lewis must be behind the wheel there. It's already starting.
But he got the third best time in day 3, the day after he said that the car was sliding all over the place on a track that he actually wasn't driving on that day. It was Charles who got the best time of that day in day 2. So again, when you look and sure, it's just one lap, but I think the point is in a year 2 where this is very important and you want him to be on his P's and Q's, the distraction side of things should not be present. And people view this as rightfully as a distraction of sorts. And it's his job now to have to overcome that. We know the track record. We know the history of people trying to overcome Kim Kardashian. It doesn't work out. And that's why people are concerned. But that is his job. That's his job.
Can I just read like what? Yes, it's his job, but why add that adversity for yourself? I don't understand.
Is he doing race his rent driving? That's crazy.
Right? Like you're so close to being retired. This is a post-retirement thing that you do. Like fine, go and do that if you want to do that post-retirement. But right now, when you've already had this Ferrari thing hanging over you, now you're gonna add even more publicity to yourself. Let me just run through the roster real quick because you mentioned Ray J and Kanye West, but here's the list. Reggie Bush, Miles Austin, y'all remember him? He fell the fuck off. Chris Humphries, you remember him?
He wasn't good anyway. That's not fair.
To be fair, Chris Humphries never fell off because there was nothing for him to fall off of. He became
agreed, but also
for 72 days.
You know how all that went, and it was ungood, right? Okay, and so after that was Kanye West, and then after that, I'm scrolling through the wiki right now. We had Pete Davidson.
Okay.
And then after that, we had Odell Beckham Jr.
When was OBJ?
Apparently, February, according to Wikipedia, September 2023 to March 2024. So it didn't last all that long. But that's kind of what this is.
It's football season. Yeah.
I don't again, and so all those names. And now Lewis Hamilton wants to add his name to that ahead of one of the most important seasons and one of the last seasons he's going to have in F1. I'm just so confused by this decision making.
I would just say I'm just going to defend Lewis for 5 seconds by quoting King Jaffe Joffer from Come to America. At some point, every prince must go and sow his royal oats, and that's what he's trying to do. Now, would I have done it before this season? I don't know. I don't have that opportunity. I don't get that. I don't get to make those decisions. But I'll tell you, if it doesn't work, people are going to look at this and go, "Why?" That's the big long and short of it. Is he could do what he wants. He's Lewis Hamilton. He has earned that right. But if it does not work out, people will have the right, especially the Tifosi, are going to snap at this and say that he's not committed to this program.
Honestly, the funniest one of all of that is Pete Davidson,
who did not seek her out. She sought him out for reasons. Reasons that she had heard.
Yeah, reasons, rumors.
Noticing.
One of my favorite comedians tells a joke about like black people who believe in ghosts. He's like, you're dealing with a lot right now. Like the way the world is going, you also go add in like extraterrestrials. Like you just like you can leave that to the white people with nothing else to do, nothing else to fear. Like just do that instead of believing in ghosts because you got a lot going on. And this is how I feel with Lewis. Man, you're taking on a lot right now. And maybe now is not the best time for all of this. And again, I'm sorry. I know it feels very judgmental and it is. But I'm just like, I want the dude to have a really good season. It's gonna end soon. I feel like he's in that like LeBron category where I know it's gonna be over soon and it's gonna hurt me when it's over. I just want the end of it to be good. And right now, neither one of them are looking like they're gonna end well at all right now. and I'm sad about it.
I mean, look, when he broke up with Nicole, I think he lost to Nico Rosberg when he probably shouldn't have, and then he won 4 straight. So,
but he had time to win 4 straight. If he does that, and then you can't turn it around because he'll be like 49 by the time he's like trying to win his like 4th or 5th or whatever after.
Fernando Alonso is going to be 52 and still driving. So, I mean,
is he still going to be driving Aston Martin?
He ain't got time for this.
Probably not.
I'm sorry. He ain't got time for this. And this just feels like this just feels bad. I hope I'm proven wrong. I'll say that.
It's like VVD. This is all just like VVD. Leave the game before it leaves you, sir. Like,
but this is the thing. I feel like he's got a little bit more to give. Like you're finally getting.
well,
Yeah, his problem was the previous era of car. Now, I know he spoke and said that he doesn't love the way these cars operate, but I think again, his was more so like intellectually figuring out like Donald said, the muscle memory of figuring the car out. But like I think once you do that, then this gives him a different like ability and different opportunity, a different way of driving that is maybe more familiar to him once he gets a handle on all the other stuff. And so I do feel like there's an opportunity here for him to come, because Ferrari, knock on all the wood, they've been kind of under the radar. They're putting in a bunch of laps. They haven't had any catastrophes. They seem fast when they want to be fast. Like they haven't had really big problems. They look like they are a well-oiled machine right now, which is not something we ever really say about Ferrari. And obviously that means that the car's going to blow up this upcoming test. But until it does, they're looking like one of the most composed teams out there. And that's good. And I just feel like he's so close and the opportunities are so limited that you just really need to hyper focus on making sure this goes well, because there's only one thing that can make this a success, and it is winning. It's standing on the podium, on the top step of the podium in a Ferrari, having won races, multiple. Whether you get another driver's championship or not, who knows? I would love that to happen, but I want to see him consistently on podiums or fighting for them. That's where he needs to be. And if he does that with Ferrari, this will be like a great move. It'll be like a good move. Congratulations. You're still a beast. You're still a great driver. And you're older than most of the grid except for Fernando Alonso. And you get to ride off in the sunset as a successful Ferrari driver. Right now, he retires tomorrow. His Ferrari career will have been a joke.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want that.
There's no really rebuttal for that.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is I get that this is a distraction and could be, especially for him, and we don't want any distractions. Having said that, you know, I'm single. I'm not gonna, you know, go after the man for trying to find love in random places, whether that be on reality TV or
Random
you know, the
place.
Super Bowl, what have you. But again, like as long as it's not a distraction, I think, you know, generally I'm fine with it. Mike, you know, I think the problem is the track record of her is that every relationship she's in turns into a distraction. So how does that compute? We just have to see and hope that he can be level-headed about it and hope that he can avoid the curse that so many others have failed to do.
Also, I also want to be honest about this, okay? Because, and I know I'm talking a lot of shit about Kim Kardashian. And listen, I feel how I feel. And I've never been about that whole thing. Even when she was at the like height of popularity, it was never for me. Never understood it, never liked it. I mean, I understand it in terms of like, is she attractive? Yes. But there's a lot of other things that come along with that. And I'm like, nah, I don't want any of that. But for me, it's also like, this is Lewis Hamilton. Like the dude looks good. All right. We can say this objectively. He is an attractive person. He has a shit ton of money.
Maybe he's helping her at the bar.
Ton of money.
He's a sir.
Yes, he is a sir. He is one of the most decorated champion in F1. Like he will be in history books as long as history books are allowed to exist on this earth. He will be in them. Record books as well. Like he is on a level where I feel like if he wants one of his people to just reach out to somebody that he's attracted to, says, hey, do you want to go on a date with Lewis Hamilton? The list of people that will say no is very, very, very small.
That's fair.
And I feel
And that
like the
includes
list
married
of people, correct. And I feel like
Men
the
or
list
women,
of
honestly.
Exactly. That's why I said people, right? Like it's just people. And I feel like this thing is somewhat beneath him. Like I expect Kim Kardashian to show, like if she showed up with, give me a random dude, like just somebody who's like mediocre.
Chris Humphries.
Okay, we can stick with that. If she rekindled the flame with Chris Humphries, would you be surprised? If you woke up and saw that in a tabloid, you'd be like, wow, that's random, but okay. You wouldn't be surprised.
would.
But Lewis Hamilton?
I'm just stuck on the fact that you said that he will be in record books as long as books exist, as if that was something that's going to go away. And that's a longer conversation that we don't have time
to.
Some people are trying. That's all I'm saying.
Still,
I just prepare for all eventualities. Exactly.
We're just going.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. I'm so. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, we can move on from this topic.
Well,
I feel like if I keep talking,
the answer is
get mad at me.
The answer is he should just win every race, and then we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
That's all you have to do, Lewis Hamilton. Win every race.
That's like who was it? Was it somebody was talking about Aston Martin, and all they got to do is do what McLaren did a couple years ago. Yeah, just do the McLaren. Yeah, just go ahead. Just go be McLaren. Thing. Just suddenly be like, okay, we're mid. Oh, never mind, we're winning races now. Yeah, just go do that. Every team, just go do that. Go do what McLaren did. It's that easy.
So easy.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's that. I have one more rant in me before we leave, but does anybody else have anything else to say?
No, I'm waiting for this rant. Let's go. This is what we came to hear about. Let's
he told us about this rant, and then he was like, "I'm not going to put it in the doc." He said that
we're all on the same page.
He's like, "I'm not going to put it in the document. I'm just going to let y'all hear it when we have it." I'm like, fine.
Yeah. No, this is. Part of F1 like media is doing the same, especially in the off season. Like you have your things, and of course we do the same thing in soccer with kit reveals. Like it's a bunch of content. It's important. People get excited because they have their own like objective views and all that, and subjective views about what they like and what they don't like. And that's fine and that's cool, whatever. And so a lot of podcasts have been doing, especially European-based podcasts, have been doing their F1 livery like rankings, trying to figure out who's the best. Listen, I hate to paint an entire continent with a broad brush, okay? But Europe's got to be one of the most sauceless places there is in the entire world, because I do not understand how they look at the Cadillac livery and hate it. I do not understand how they rank Alpine so low. I'll not understand why they're mad at Audi. Those are the three best ones.
Like, because they're attached to freaking the USA. So they're like, oh, then these can't be good. You have no sauce. You don't know ball. You don't know ball. There's no way you can look at anything that Cadillac has produced and tell me it's not good. I will come fight you today.
It can't even be. It can't even be a American bias either. Because as André and I were talking about earlier, like they rate Haas high, and yeah. Haas is, I guess, it air quotes American now. Like again, Haas, fight back. But you have like the fact that Audi and Alpine are entering the block, or not even. I'm sorry, Audi's entering the block, and Cadillac's entering the block, and then like, man, y'all stuff trash. Okay, that just tells me that y'all don't know this game. Like you again. Like soccer, y'all claim to have invented this stuff, and somehow you're the worst at it. And that's why you ain't got no designs. That's why you came out and have Red Bull, Aston Martin, Racing Bulls, Mercedes, and McLaren all come out with the same damn car. And you guys are rating those the highest because they're the same damn car.
Yeah.
We don't give points for lack of creativity. Like if you're not going to be creative, that's a choice that you make, but you're going to live with being down in the rankings. And meanwhile, Cadillac said, ain't nobody got a split black and white car. Everybody else has their livery with their second sponsor in like bright orange or yellow or blue on their tail. Nah, we're putting Cadillac on that bitch. Like that's what they did. And it's fly objectively. And if they don't want to recognize that, that's on them. I'm not going to teach them style in this podcast or any other. They're going to have to educate themselves on what style looks like. And when they look up that on the internet, who they're going to find? Americans. Because every style, and most importantly, Black Americans. Because style on this planet has been dictated off the backs of people that look like you, and me. Period.
Yeah. We set the culture for the entire world. That's kind of the way that it goes. Very influential. And the thing that really stands out to me about, especially about the Cadillac livery, because I don't care what side of that car you look at, it's clean. You may think, oh, it's just basic black and white, but the way they integrated it and the way they use it, it is clean looking. It looks really good. The thing they were mad at was that, oh, their World Endurance Championship cars have yellow on them. Who the fuck watches that? And not like, I'm not mad. Like, I understand that that's an important, like, if you're deep into motorsports and racing, you know what that is. But this is F1. And you can't be acting like F1 has to follow whatever they're doing in another series, especially one like, it'd be the same thing, me like, oh man, I wish McLaren did what they did with their Indy car. No, this is F1. This is like, you were supposed to come with the best of the best, and they didn't want the yellow in there because they had something else that they wanted to do, and it turned out really, really good. So the fact that you want yellow added, and that's why you're upset, doesn't make any sense to me, especially because, like what Donald said, several of these teams did the same damn thing, and they ranked them higher than Cadillac. I don't understand that at all. And Audi too. Audi is dope. That color, I like red orange color, is dope. It pops. It looks good. The silver looks good. That car looks good. I don't care what they say. Sauceless continent.
This is that comment you just made where they're like, oh, they should have used the yellow that they use in this other circuit that they know they don't care about. They're just doing it for sake of argument, right? Like, that's like saying, like, Real Madrid has these blank white jerseys and they look all right, but they should have done what their under 21 team does. No, you are the top dog. Like, yes, they came hard. And again, look, I grew up Cadillac, right? I've seen all the varying stages of Cadillac, and they even took the logo and said, we need to make this different. We need to make this distinct, and we need to make it where everyone understands that this is Cadillac F1, right? This is our thing. It's going to be different from you driving a Cadillac down the street. If you have an Escalade, it's going to be different if you're driving a deuce and a quarter. This is F1. We need to come correct. And they did. And everyone objectively likes it. And if you are somebody who does not, that is on you to have to explain to yourself. I'm not going to waste any more time doing it because I know I'm right. And I'm so why do I have to explain why I'm right? You need to explain why you're wrong, Europe.
Yeah, we're just gonna call out all of Europe.
Yeah, everybody in Europe, wake up! Until you get the lesson, everybody in Europe need to wake up, look in the mirror, and ask themselves, am I gonna be sauceless today or not? And get to the point where you can honestly answer yourself and say, no, I will not be sauceless. I'm actually going to enjoy the sauce. I'm going to seek out the sauce. I'm going to respect the sauce, and everything is going to be great in my life from then on. Make sure you do that exercise and then come talk to me after you've done that and can honestly answer yes for a number of days in a row. Then let's have the livery conversation because you're not prepared for it right now.
That's hilarious. Make a habit of wanting to be the sauce.
Be better every single day.
Exactly. 1% better every single day, and then get back to me because this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, that's it. That's all I had. I've been listening to all these, and I just like my mind is blown. I'm just sitting there watching, like listening, and I'm just like, what is wrong with how are these people so different than me? And then I got to remember, like Donald said, oh yeah, I come from a culture where like
we watch differently.
Yeah, like we see things differently. So that certain things resonate differently. Like when it comes to arts and culture and style and fashion and sense like that, we just do things differently over here. So that's why there's the disconnect. But again, y'all can make strides to improve yourselves, and we here at DRSFC are rooting for you. Okay,
we have people. We have people.
Terms and conditions apply. Terms and conditions apply.
True. We have people who can see sounds and hear colors. And if you don't know what I just said, that is the problem. That's the problem right there.
Correct. All right. All right, and that's it for this episode. We will be back to talk about Bahrain testing, the second part. Once it is done and wrapped up, we will overview some of that and kind of that might be like a slight more of a sneak preview of what to expect, even though a lot will change because there still will be weeks in between them showing up in Australia. But also some of those weeks are going to be taken up by like having to ship a whole ass car across the world. So like some of those days are going to be eaten up, but you will see more development, more things things, because that's going to be the other cool storyline to, I think, watch all season, is who makes these big development strides. Who is looking at like they're consistently finishing like, ninth or 10th as a team, and then suddenly they jump up to like 6th or even 5th. Like, you're gonna see some really big jumps, and those jumps might not be sustained. Maybe they do it for a race or two and then somebody else jumps on top. So it's going to be really cool, and I hope they're ready to tell the story of how how this happens. Like, what did they actually work? Did they work on their fuel? Did they work on the aerodynamics? Did they work on the engine, their recovery systems? Like, I hope they tell those stories, because I think they're going to be really fascinating to track throughout the whole of the season. But anyway, we'll be here to talk about it all, and then of course we'll be back with our first preview, and we're also going to do a season preview of all the teams. We're going to try and do that at some point before the season kicks off. And good Lord, Drive to Survive starts soon too, doesn't it? Until it drops,
I think a couple weeks. Yeah.
We
got a
to
busy
about.
couple of weeks.
This is going to be a lot. So stick with us. If you're from Europe and we just insulted you,
do better.
Do better.
I was gonna say it's not us, it's you.
Sorry for your lack of taste.
Just do better. That's really all you got to do. And again, like to Ebony's credit, terms and conditions apply. But for the most part, we're rooting for you. All right. Want you to experience sauce in your life and have a better life because of that.
You can't ravage the world and not have any sauce or flavor. Like, come on.
Listen, y'all tore the world up looking for spices, and suddenly y'all can't stand a single fleck of spice. Okay, we've derailed. I was trying to end on a good note.
All right, ending on a good note.
We'll be back. I'm just gonna say vroom vroom. That's it. Vroom vroom.